More on that tariff ruling and what options do remain on the table for the White House. Our Megan Casella joins us this morning. Hey, Megan.
Hey guys, good morning. So this is a pretty significant blow for the administration's trade agenda, the biggest one that we've seen so far, but it's certainly not the end of the road for the tariffs, and it doesn't leave the administration without options. So really three main things to watch from here. The first is that the administration can, and in fact already has requested, a formal administrative stay that could keep tariffs in place if it's granted. So the status quo would hold if we see that move forward. They also could move for tariffs via alternative statutes. Sarah just laid out some of the Section 232s that are there. There are a number of statutes we can run through that they're looking at. And in the meantime, the trade negotiations with other countries are still ongoing. So on that stay, Justice Department attorneys filed that request just this morning with the Court of International Trade, asking them not to impose this ruling, saying it's critical for the country's national security and for the president's ongoing delicate diplomatic efforts, those ongoing trade negotiations, that the court stay its judgment. So we'll have to wait and see whether that's granted. But in the ruling itself, there were 10 calendar days for the administration to pause the collection of these tariffs. So if we see the stay before that, then the status quo holds. Now, as for the alternative statutes, take a look here just at the Section 232 investigations that...
So I haven't taken a look yet, but I'm under the impression that this Court of International Federal Trade Court, I'm guessing that that's to like, I thought that was for companies. I didn't know that was to make rulings on presidential tariffs and things of that nature. I got to do a little bit more research on that. If you guys know a little bit more, hit me up in the comments. However, it's still just an amazing thing, right? That I think it was three judges. That three judges can just make a ruling and totally change like our entire country. Like something has to be done about this. If they're saying that Trump doesn't have the legislative authority to do this, that's one thing. But he's citing rules. I believe he's citing legislation that I'm not sure exactly when it passed, but essentially said that in the event of circumstances or emergencies or whatever, the president has the right to impose tariffs, whatever the thing is, right? He has lawyers. They are lawyers. They're figuring this out. They're hashing it out. It's still an incredible thing to me that you're the president of the United States and you can't do things like I get the checks and balances, but it's everything he does. Every single thing that he does, like it's basically saying he has no authority to do anything. He has to run everything by us first, and then maybe we'll grant him the leeway to do these things. It's absolutely ridiculous. I don't know how much farther this can go without having hitting getting to a head.
That are ongoing. A lot of these are written really broadly and could impact a huge amount of trade. Copper and lumber were the first launched. Semiconductors could impact any downstream products that contain chips. Same with the processed critical minerals. That's written in a way that they could impose tariffs on anything that includes critical minerals as well. So just a way there that the president could impose further tariffs for national security reasons that are much more likely to stay in place. There are a number of statutes out there. The only other one I'd mention is known as Section 122. It's more about balance of payments and specifically about the trade deficit, since that's what the president is most worried about. This court ruling last night even points to Section 122, says that might be the more appropriate path. That could be something we see the administration lean on in the short term, even while this appeals process is ongoing. And then finally, guys, we've heard from some administration officials this morning on other networks. Kevin Hassett, Peter Navarro have been saying that in the meantime, with all of this, trade negotiations with other countries are ongoing. They say that trade deals could be coming even this week with, I think Hassett said 3 other countries. So more to watch there, more movement as that keeps going. Guys.
Meantime, Megan, I'm sure your ears have been burning because much of the street's been asking who was the reporter that posed the question to the president about the taco trade. Let's take a listen to that piece of sound.
It's called negotiation. You set a number. And if you go down, if I set a number at a ridiculous high number and I go down a little bit, they want me to hold that number, 145% tariff. Even I said, man, that really got up. He said, whoa, that's high. That's high. They were doing no business whatsoever. And they were having a lot of problems. We were doing no business because of the tariff, because it was so high. But I knew that. But don't ever say what you said. That's a nasty question. Go ahead. To me, that's the nastiest question.
Megan, a lot of people probably wonder what it was like posing that question to the president.
Carl, it's something that has gone a lot further than I think I, in the moment, really expected. To me, this was something that had been making the rounds on Wall Street.
I mean, if my memory serves me correct, I think she said like a disparage. She said like the people are saying, and then she named him or said something disparaging about him. Yeah, so they're kind of not providing the full context of here because they didn't show you what she actually asked him. I'll have to look that up, and maybe in a later video we'll take a look at it. But it seems like they're leaving a little bit of context out of this response here. But that's kind of what they do.
a little bit, been written up in the Journal, the Times, and so it felt like it was a chance to ask the president about it directly and to give him a chance really to defend this strategy, asking, what were these analysts missing when they were saying that Trump was chickening out on this?
Chickening out. So that's what she asked him. She said, analysts said that you're chickening out. Like, what? It's just I don't know. That doesn't seem like an appropriate question to ask the president of the United States.
We've heard him use the nasty question moniker before. Not something I was going for when I asked this question, but it did sort of touch on this sort of broader question. Has the president been bluffing too much? And now with this court ruling, we do have to wonder what that means for the president's leverage. He was saying there that all of these tariffs have.
How are they saying that he's been bluffing too much? He's implemented the policies. You're implementing something, right? You're saying, okay, you're going to do 50%. And then somebody says, hey, listen, let's start negotiating. They start negotiating. And he says, okay, while we're negotiating, I'm going to hold off on this. Why is that? Why is that chickening out? Why is that bluffing? It's not bluffing. It's bringing them to the table. You're posing something. You're bringing somebody to the table. And in good faith, you're saying, okay, while we're having this discussion, these things take time. It's freaking international trade. It's not like you're buying you're leasing a car or something like that. These are major, humongous deals. And so the fact that they're saying that that he's chickening out or bluffing when he's acting in good faith and saying, listen, all right, let's hit the pause button while we're talking. If talks stop or if things aren't going the way I want, we flick it right back on. It's a switch. It's really easy to do. I just think, I don't know what's going on with that.
Have been foremost, I would say, about generating leverage and making sure countries are coming to the table and offering something. And now with this ruling, if the tariffs are no longer, if he doesn't have the authority to impose them, are countries continuing, will they continue to be willing to offer things up? That's what we have to wait and see at this point.
Yeah, and Megan, you've done such a great job for us, obviously, covering all these different aspects of trade, as difficult as they might be, and all the numbers associated with them. We've been positing the idea this morning that this simply creates more uncertainty, because, again, we're just not sure on the road. Would you agree with that as at least an early conclusion here in terms of this court ruling?
For sure. I think that's definitely fair, just because markets, investors, businesses have at least started to become accustomed to what was in place, what we've been talking about now.
Guys, let's be honest. A lot of this stuff is already baked in. Everyone kind of knows. Everyone knows where this is going to end, right? There's going to be a baseline of relatively moderate tariffs across the board. Pretty sure it's already. The market's already settled in. There's going to be a couple of fluctuations here and there. They already know this. They're business people, and they know this. This is all just politics that they're bantering on back and forth right now.
Now since April. If all of that is up in the air, as I just laid out, the administration has a number of options they have to turn to, but now everybody has to take a look at those statutes and say, what do those mean? And one of the things I think that we've been trying to hit on every time we talk about this, and you guys know this, is that even while these country-specific negotiations have been ongoing and have been sort of in limbo and on pause, the sectoral investigations are the ones that are much more likely to stay in place. If you think about the national security tariffs from the first term, the China tariffs from the first term, those were never challenged. This court challenge could ultimately be successful. Maybe it's overturned. We don't know yet. But while there's so much uncertainty there, the administration keeps moving on the much more permanent paths forward, and that could lead to even more tariffs ultimately. So we are certainly not at the end of this story.
No, nowhere near. And of course, it bears mentioning the International Emergency Economic Powers Act is what was at stake here. And of course, the key question being, is it really an emergency? Is it any different than many other times in U.S. history?
Yeah, is it really an emergency? I don't know. It seems like if he's been talking about this for 80 years. I have videos on Nancy Pelosi talking about this. I'm sorry, he's been talking for 40 years. Excuse me. In the 80s, he was talking about this. Now, I have videos of Nancy Pelosi in the 90s talking about this. So it seemed like this has been an issue for a while. Does that constitute it as an emergency? I'm not sure. Are we at a point where if this doesn't happen now, will it ever? Most likely not, or most likely not in our lifetime. So him proposing this as a matter of that act and then using it in the limited scope of whatever the grounds of that ruling is, whatever that shapes out to be, that's what they're deciding to do. I guess it's being challenged. They're going to figure this out. They probably knew this was coming. At least I hope so. And they can still continue forward. They'll put a stay on it. Hopefully that'll go through. And then this will all get worked out down the road. Now, hopefully, what these judges are doing and what they did was not destroy or not hamper the negotiations, right? It's not a good thing. If you go into a by the way, pause for a second. If you can subscribe, really help. Hit like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. It helps out a lot. But if you're in a negotiation with somebody and the person's saying, all right, I'm going to sell it for $100, you're coming back with 50, and then somebody comes in and says, an authority says, oh, well, sorry, but you couldn't sell it for $100 to begin with. What do you think that person is going to do? This trying to buy it, trying to get it for cheaper? they're probably going to go even lower, or whatever it is. It's not helping the negotiation process. I don't understand why this isn't something that could have, in the end, if these things were imposed and it was going to be something that was permanently baked into the system, then I could see taking it up and trying to litigate what would be proper. I don't see how this is again, these are just people trying to throw monkey wrenches into the system, into the Trump administration. They're not helping out. It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. I mean, hopefully he can get this done and we can go ahead and move forward and let's go MAGA. Let's see how it does. Guys, thanks a lot for coming out for the video. Please leave a like, share, subscribe to the channel. If you comment below, I'll talk to you. We'll banter back and forth. If you disagree, it's even better. It's a little bit more fun. But if you just want to share, leave a nice comment, I really appreciate it. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks a lot, guys, for coming out.